All right, what's up, guys? Evanaldo here. Always appreciate you guys. I want to talk about more of my macro, my price predictions. I want to talk about kind of my price predictions, range predictions for where I think, Bitcoin's going to end up at the peak of kind of the next bull run. Ethereum as well. I want to talk about that. I haven't talked about that like a while, like big price predictions in a like at least I've talked about it in live streams, not really like uploaded videos. So I want to talk about that. I also want to give you an update, on what I'm looking at in the markets right now. Bitcoin, Ethereum, DXY, ETH versus Bitcoin right now, Bitcoin dominance. So if you enjoy the content, hit the like button, subscribe if you're new. I always appreciate that. Let's kind of get right into it here. So, the main thing that we're looking at here, and this is kind of, you see the 4-year cycle, with these peaks here, double top there, single top there, double top in that one, you kind of see the diminished returns and all of that here. And, if we're going to do the same thing, if we follow the 4-year cycle now, my kind of instinct would be, at least right now with what we're looking at, Bitcoin is stabilizing above the 200 weekly moving average. That looks pretty strong. Reacted pretty well with the banks coming down, obviously, looking more like a hedge against inflation. All the money printed, all those things. It looks like most likely you will be able to make a new all-time high in the next bull run and kind of fulfill, kind of keep the 4-year cycle here. And main strategy, I think, for DCAing in is, next like 10 months, like until December, until January, that's the time to DCA in. This is accumulation year. And I mean, people would say, oh, maybe you missed the boat if you didn't buy exactly at the bottom at 15.5. I mean, I know a lot of people who made a lot of money in crypto in the last bull run. People who have made millions. And I know people like myself who didn't even really get in until like 10K over here and still did very well, assuming, with the altcoins, with Ethereum. So, just a 90% jump up, nobody's going to buy, for DCA, nobody's going to buy the exact bottom and sell the exact top. We know that. It's all a game of probability. No one knows exactly what's going to happen. But I think ultimately, the strategy I've been following here, DCA in, and I mean, I did buy more in this drop down if you've been following me a while. I bought some 24K back there for long term, some more at like 18K over there. Then I stopped for a while, and then I bought some more when this confirmed in the red here. That was around 17, 16K. And then when we confirmed back in the red here, waited when we went back in the green, confirmed back in the red here, bought some more around 20K. This strategy works pretty well. DCAing in when it's in the red, that works very well. Now, let's get into my price prediction here. So I gave you kind of the strategy for long term. Let's get into kind of my price prediction. Let me go on the Coinbase chart just to show you. So if we follow the 4-year cycle, it's looking more like we're going to do that. It's looking more like 15K was the bottom. I'm not saying it is, but it's looking more so like it probably will be. Now, the big curveball would be to come down lower towards the end of the year. I think that's, a bad recession. If we do go into recession, Dixie kind of pumps up, which a lot of people do think. There's a lot of smart people who think that. Then I'm not saying, 9,300, but I'm saying potentially a double bottom or a lower low. That's kind of, more of where you would not make a new all-time high. But let's talk about the all-time high. Say this is the top. I don't know. What would we? Maybe we come down a bit over the summer, get a summer lull or something. I don't know. Come back to 20K or something. That's irrelevant. But in terms of coming up, so say you're going to, 2024 is going to be a good year. You repeat that cycle into 2025, and you're going to see the peak kind of in 2025 or something. So this would be kind of the lower end, I think. If you make new all-time high, lower end would be like 93, and it would be a big tease. Everybody would be waiting for 100K. It just doesn't get there. It gets knocked down in time. Or we push through that, and there's a last FOMO up to like 140. These are the high areas. It would probably really be more of this, this one. That's like high, depending on when it peaks. That's like best case scenario, I think, like 170 potentially. Best case scenario in 2025, 180, 170. That would be, I don't think it's going to go that high. That would be kind of crazy and inflate. That would be, a lot of that would just be US dollar freaking going down like crazy. But it's probably going to be more of this range. This would be, if it's 2025, 120. That's a big area. Like if I had to pick like a number, a real number to say, it would probably be something like that. But I do think there's a strong. So I think the main range is like 80. If you're making a new all-time high, like 80K to 120 would be the big range there. That's what I think is gonna, you know, kind of happen there. And let me just give you the all right, so let's say we like things get real ugly with the recession. We, you know, we come down, we make a lower low at the end of the year or something, or into 2024 or something. That's where, in the case of, this is the first time Bitcoin went below, you know, below the previous all-time high, went to 17K, and then, you know, then 15K here, stayed below for a while. You know, that's the first time that happened. It would be maybe the first time it doesn't make a new all-time high. Maybe you just get up to, you know, somewhere between 45K and, you know, well, that would be a new all-time high. Maybe 60K and 45K. That's if you go down lower, I think. That's what would most likely happen. And that would be where the catalyst for that would be kind of the monthly coming into the red. You could still see that happen towards the end of the year. That's still not out of the question. But I think ultimately, you know, DCing in now until like December, January, you're probably going to get at least, unless it's like something really crazy where we bottom out in like summer of 2024. Don't think that's going to happen, but you're probably going to be getting in like a really good position there. Obviously, you just got to be prepared to hold that for 2 years. That's a problem. Sometimes, you know, people will put in, none of this is financial advice as always, guys, but people will put in too much, and then what happens? It will go down, and then they sell because they have to, not because they want to. Do everything you can not to let that happen, because you're going to be, the people you're going to be selling it to are the billionaires. You know what I mean? That's kind of the issue that kind of happens a lot. So that's what I'm thinking there for that, you know, for that trajectory upward. Now, Ethereum, let me give you my price prediction for Ethereum, and I think it's going to be, if you make a new all-time high, it's going to be probably somewhere between, let's say it's in 2025, keep the 4-year cycle, somewhere between, probably the high range would be 12K. I think the high range would be 12K. That's probably like best case scenario. I mean, I guess things could get really crazy. You could get up to 18 or 20K, but I think that's a little bit far-fetched. Lower, you know, this range, I think it would probably be, yeah, I mean, it could be, yeah, it could only be 6K. I'd say 6 to 12K would be the big range. ETH is going to be harder to predict in a, you know, obviously because it's more volatile, lower market cap, hard to predict in that fashion. But that area, 6 to kind of 12K, depending on when you hit that. Depending on when you hit that, I think these areas are going to be pretty significant. I would be more inclined to say this kind of area. If things get really ugly, say, you go into a recession, you know, ETH comes down to like freaking 600 or something, you know, not good, you know, not good. You know, where could you end up in the next bull run? You know, where would you end up? It may be only, you know, somewhere between 5,000 to, you know, 4,700 to like 3,000, assuming Bitcoin only goes up to, you know, 40 to 60K in the next bull run. Kind of don't think that's going to happen, but this could be the first time because of a bad recession. Now, in terms, like I said, in terms of inflation, in terms of Bitcoin ETH kind of acting as an inflation hedge, it seems like we're going to keep the 4-year cycle. I think that's going to happen. But, you know, we always want to talk about all the different possibilities here. And ultimately, I think the time to get into ETH, because people ask, and obviously you're going to get, I think you're going to definitely do better with ETH. I think ETH is going to continue to outperform the next bull run. Bitcoin, when would you get in? Ultimately, you want to probably get in. I was looking at, this looks, ETH Bitcoin looks, you know, by no means bullish. It looks terrible. I mean, some people on the fundamentals are talking about the fork coming up, you know, it's going to be less supply that could bring it up. I'm more in the camp that the people that are staking ETH may just sell it. I don't know, though. I really don't know. But I think these EMAs are coming into the gray. Like, just in terms of technicals right now, this does not look good. And I think kind of the best case scenario here, I think, is going to be kind of this area. Maybe May, June, you hit this area. This is a good place to start DCing into ETH, I would say, or maybe start converting Bitcoin to Ethereum, depending on what your strategy is. What I'm looking at potentially is this this money flow here. If this could get deeper in the red, you see how it was over here, deeper in the red? You get deeper in the red in the next few months, this is a good place to start DCing in. Now, when would you stop DCing in? I mean, the other thing too, let's just show you the ETH chart, what you would look at as well here. Money flow coming out, and then the VWAP coming down as well, you know, kind of right there. So that area, I think ultimately, just like Bitcoin, money flow into the red, which I think inevitably will happen here. And I think this next kind of red dot may kind of mark the end of this rally, whether or not we come up to, you know, to over 2,000, you know, before that happens. But I think that's ultimately going to mark the end of this rally. And that's where you're going to see some significant pullback. Maybe it's only a pullback to 13, 1400, but still, that's a better place to start DCAing in rather than right now. That's what I'm looking at for ETH. Just my opinion. This is never financial advice. Could be obviously completely wrong. So that's what we're looking at right there for Ethereum. Let me just show you guys the kind of more of the short term of what I think. I want to do a little bit of like short term analysis here, and I want to incorporate kind of the Bitcoin dominance into that a little bit. So people have been talking about potential altcoin season. In terms of like I said, ETH Bitcoin, there's nothing indicative of an altcoin season on here. There's no evidence to support that here. Bitcoin dominance, what would support an altcoin season if see this big area, if we reject from here, this would support an altcoin season, which could potentially happen. However, I'm kind of looking at money flow here. Look at this money flow, kind of how it was over here. You were just about at that area, and then you came down a little bit, but I don't, you know what I mean? You came down a little bit, but you didn't get an altcoin season in 2018 there, you know what I mean? Or when we were here with money flow, look what happened. Had a little jump down, but look, then you got a big jump up. So I do think this might be finally where Bitcoin dominance really breaks out. Even if you continue forward, I think it's going to be more of like the rally that we've seen the past few months where Bitcoin just knocks everything out of the park. Bitcoin goes up to maybe 40K or something, but the altcoins, they go up, but they're just kind of left behind, and Bitcoin outperforms the majority of them. That's what I think is going to happen. You could easily reject from here, though. But I'm just not, daily green dot there, coming out. I feel like you're just going to do this, something like this. Just come back and repeat, and you come even higher here, past 50, which that's just indicative of it being Bitcoin season and still being Bitcoin, the Bitcoin being the king right now, as we've seen as we're typically seeing accumulation years such as 2019. That's what I think right now. And if we look at more of the time frames, let me just show you what I think in the real short term. What could happen. So if we look at the 3-day right here, and this is where I'm looking for potentially a pullback. If we look at the 3-day, you may get a bearish divergence now. I will wait till it appears and at least gets close to confirming and other things. You got to look at all the other time frames, but big pocket right here. Wait for that divergence. That's going to be a high probability of a swing short. I mean, I took a swing short off of this one over here that worked out really well. Hit some nice profits on the way down. That was, I believe I called that out in the Discord. I did take the month of February off, so maybe I didn't. But we talked about this, and we did talk about this. And if you guys are interested in Discord, some exclusive trade entries and exclusive TA, obviously not all right 100% of the time. It's not financial advice, but we do have a really good community. Link in the description below. And if you sign up to any of the exchanges down below with my link, I'll give you 1 free month in that Discord. Just shoot me a DM on Discord with your UID after you sign up, and it has to be with my links down below to exchanges. You have to deposit at least $100. So yeah, so check that out if you guys are interested. And this is kind of coming, you're getting the same bearish div that you confirmed it here, but now you're just nullifying it with the green dot. You're playing red dot, green dot, but the next one could come, and that could ultimately bring us down. Now, daily as well, that bearish div could easily come on pretty soon and bring us down. That's a good place to look for a potential swing short. Now, in the real short term here, and we're on the weekend, some interesting things happen. Money flow is crossing from red to green. That is potential. We look, obviously, historically, probably don't need me to tell you this, but look, obviously money flow from red to green can mean a lot. Same with green to red. This could easily bring us up to, there's a lot of liquidations right now at 29.5. That's a huge point of liquidations, which coincides exactly with this area, exactly with this spiral line, kind of right here. So I could ultimately see another jump up to there before we start to come down. Also, what I'm looking at for a swing short here is money flow to kind of cross into the red here. I think on the 6 hour, by the time we get that, that's going to be a good indication that we're kind of heading down for a potential swing short. 4 hours just playing around, red to green, another green dot there. I do see evidence, that we can definitely pump up a little bit higher here, at least. Take this a little bit with a grain of salt. It is the weekend, but, the other thing too for the swing short, these to turn into the gray potentially, these to turn into the gray potentially, which could happen, Monday or Tuesday next week. That's going to be a pretty good place for a swing short. They turned to the gray here. It didn't work out. It doesn't work every time, but a lot of the times from like gray to bright, bam, right up. bright to gray down. You know what I mean? These are all pretty good. This one he probably would have got still a little bit depending. I would have to look at that a little bit more with the money flow too. That money flow and that it's both coming up, pretty good sign there. So, and then you just gotta make sure you lock in profits at those areas. But you get the point. I mean, it usually kind of gives you what you need here to a certain extent. So that's Bitcoin right there. And I think Ethereum, I'm not going to waste too much time on this, but I think, Ethereum is going to be, I'm not saying it's going to happen, but I think if you look at the 4 hour, you're coming back into the green here, VWAP kind of coming up. So I think you could get another jump up to potentially 1900. I think there's a lot of liquidations right there that I think the market makers are going to be able to pull off to get those people out. It's not right 100% of the time. Take it with a grain of salt, but that's what I'm looking at. And then let's just look at the Dixie a little bit. This has been interesting. So you're getting like money flow looks pretty bad here. Blood diamond. A lot of people probably think it's going to come down, and I see why. I mean, this looks kind of bad too. And all these time frames don't really look that well. I mean, money flow's coming out on the daily, but this doesn't really look that great. You're getting a bullish dip there, but ultimately, and we're seeing too, like the things we're seeing with the Dixie too, with the U.S. dollar too, is like countries are stop using it. That could lead to kind of a dead cat bounce because there's just been so much bad news about it. Because that's usually what happens when everyone thinks something, then you get kind of a dead cat bounce. So that's what I'm kind of thinking. I absolutely still think with a recession looming, with traditional markets continuing to come down, I still think there's some hope left in this to continue forward a bit more. And if you look at like these blood diamonds, yeah, they brought you down a little bit, but I mean, it eventually did make a higher high here. So I do kind of think that ultimately you got a good shot of kind of coming up, to a peak around maybe 130 sometime in maybe mid 2024. That's when traditional markets may bottom out. S&P 500. NASDAQ, and I mean maybe even Bitcoin goes back to those. Essentially, that would be the case to make a lower low potentially. We don't know if that's going to happen, but we got to keep an eye on that. We got to keep all the possibilities. Got to always talk about all the possibilities. So yeah, guys, that's all I want to tell you guys today. Please leave a like if you enjoyed the content. Subscribe to the channel. Check out the exclusive Discord down below. Also check out the exchanges down below. Like I said, if you deposit, sign up with my link, deposit at least $100 on any exchanges down below. I'll give you 1 free month of my exclusive Discord. So check that all out. I also have a trading course down below. It's a really good beginner course. A lot of people have really liked it. So check that out as well. There is a discount code down below for that. All right, guys, have a good one. Bye.